happens if Ronda Rousey loses to Gina Carano? Now, that is a fascinating what if. And by the way, guys, conversation, but we got to have it now because this fight is upon us. They had open workouts. And I don't know who gets the credit, if it's MVP or if it's Netflix or it's both. But the producers of this event are killing it. Everything they do is beautiful, truly. Craig Borsari himself would have to look at that and go, okay, you did a good job there. So they run this open workout. And I watched Gina, and then I rewound and watched Gina, and then I called my partner Ryan, and then together we watched Gina. Gina had a playfulness. She looked beautiful. There it is. She looked beautiful. And because they keep saying that Gina was so far, her conditioning was so bad, and the story comes out that Gina pops in a year ago to Syndicate MMA in Las Vegas. And there's really two huge gyms in Las Vegas. You got Extreme Couture and you got Syndicate. And then they volley back and forth who the cool gym is. And game's been going on for a decade. But this is people that would know. These are really smart. These are fight fans. These are aspiring fighters, but people that love and they're passionate about fighting. They didn't know who Gina was. Gina introduced herself. And then it got to where Gina had to introduce herself. I am Gina Carano. Because she was so big, they didn't recognize her. That's the story. I really don't know anything about it. I've only seen Gina look pretty. I can just tell you, in this video, she looked great. I mean, her hair looked good. She was bouncing around. Then she did like a little dance. Like she's shadow boxing, and then she like turns it into this little dance, and then back to shadow boxing, and then back to this little dance. It was just captivating. It was a really cool thing to watch. And in fairness, you'd have no idea she was out 17 years. Now, you can get away with some of that stuff to a degree, but only to a degree, right? California State Athletic Commission. If they're to license somebody that has been out for a meaningful period of time, and Andy Foster himself will show up to one of your workouts. Yeah, you want a license? Yeah, you used to be a fighter. You used to be a world champion. Wow. Yeah, I know exactly who you are, but you've also been gone for 10 years and you're 50. So tell me when you're working out. I'm going to come down there with a clipboard and we're going to check some boxes. And Andy will go watch somebody. And most of the time that person gets a license, but Andy knows what he's looking at, right? Because you can slow it down and look pretty good. You can slow it down, get some power through there. You can't speed it up. You can't do it with the footwork. You can't do it with the conditioning. You can't do it with the speed. These things are there or they're not, and there's just no way to fake it. And yeah, Gina's clip was pretty quick. Did I get everything from it? No. Did I get a lot from it? Yeah. Yes, I did. And she also won me over. And she won my partner Ryan over. And we both know what we're looking at. Okay, well, let's give her the same treatment so she does an open workout. Guys, it was the same deal. Ronda's warm-up was the most athletic thing that she did. Ronda puts her hands on another girl's shoulders like they're facing one another wearing their judo jackets, and then Ronda starts swinging her leg like to loosen up her hips and her joints. She kicked that leg like, oh, you wouldn't believe it, and then swung it back this way. I mean, she showed this rotation. She showed this mobility. I don't have that same mobility. I used to warm up every day with gymnastics. I don't do all the gymnastics. I don't do the handsprings and the head springs and the back flips. I just don't do them. I look at that and go, I don't think that feels like that. That feels like that wouldn't be a good idea. And that's mobility. Ronda was doing it. And then Ronda starts doing these judo throws. Now, I'm always hard on judo, and I always have to hear from somebody from the judo community. And I don't know why that is. I don't think that's fair. Judo doesn't work in anything. It doesn't work in a street fight. It doesn't work in MMA. But I'm not being a jerk. Judo has never won an MMA championship except for the girls. Kayla and Ronda. Judo has never won a championship anywhere. Pride, Strikeforce, Elite XC, Bellator, any way you want to do it. PFL, UFC, it never happened. As a matter of fact, judo has never fought for a championship. Judo's never been in a championship. Okay, if I just win this one, judo's going to have its first ever Karate got one. Karate has a title through Lyono and a contender through Wonderboy. Judo didn't even have a contenders match since 1993. Not only has Judo never won a championship, not only has Judo never fought for a championship, Judo was never in a match that if you win this match, then you can go and fight for a championship. So when I bring this to you, like, yeah, her Judo looked really good. It really flowed, and it was a thing of beauty to watch. But it was Judo. Like, when she got on the stage to do it, she was wearing a Judo jacket, and so was her partner. And that right there has got to be a great big red flag. Right? It's got to be a big red flag. If you can't make your art adapt and work in just regular clothes, how are you possibly going to do it in the required MMA outfits? So I don't know how much credit to give it. That's my only point. I mean, this is what she's been doing all along. She tied up with Sarah McMahon. It stunned me. I thought Sarah McMahon would throw her all over the place as soon as they locked up. So I'm not discounting her ability to do it. I'm sharing with you when I watch a shadow box of Gina and then I go and watch Ronda's open workout. Like, they were both very pleasant. And Gina looked like old Gina and Ronda looked like old Ronda. I'm just sharing for you that I don't know that Judo works. Like, those girls that fought Ronda were really scared of Ronda. There was this idea going around in our community. I mean, the whole world was scared of Ronda. Everybody's skills work if the other person is just looking to get home safe. Right? If that bell rings and that other person, fight or flight, is real, if that other person is just looking for this match to get over in one piece, everything works. So I've always wondered, can Ronda just take somebody down? Because she can't with any of those things she did at the warm-up. She can't with any technique that requires the use of a coach. She just won't have one. But she's taken plenty of people down. Right? And I do wonder, and it's not a question of how good is Ronda, it's how bad does Gina suck? Does Gina suck as bad as so many other that I've seen on the ground in 1 minute and tapping out to a judo armbar? A judo armbar? I didn't even know they did armbars in judo. All right. All I'm suggesting for you is both of these girls look really good for what this is. But Gina still has size, and I can't get over that. And I can't get around that because Ronda's the one that told me how important size is to her. Ronda told us all, I will never fight Cyborg unless Cyborg comes to 135. Ronda was really never in the mix with Kayla because Kayla was at 155. And it is a piece of this story that I think coming out the back side, we're going to talk about. I am the only one giving Gina a chance. I understand that. But anyone that watched old fights would have sworn that Chuck was going to go right through Tito. He did before. In fact, he did before twice. Yeah, they took a break, but they both took a break. And there was a lot of cocaine, but there was enough to go around. It wasn't like just, it wasn't just Chuck it's not like that. That's not. So what I'm sharing is if Ronda was right and size really does matter for her, that's on Gina's side. And then what would that look like? Ronda's not back for the money. And I don't know what brought Ronda back completely. I know the fame and the experience, and it's a very unique thing. And if you can do it, boy, we all get the fever and go out and try it. Like, I get that part of it, but I have to think it's more and mainly from a competitive standpoint. Ronda called for this fight. Nobody's ever called for a fight that they don't think they can win. So if Ronda's the one that called for the fight, got the opponent, picked everything, the weight class, the amount of rounds, and who she's facing. I mean, she thinks that she can win. But what if she doesn't? And that's the big question. That's where the what if she doesn't is directly tied into why is she here? What is her motivation? Because if it is to go out the right way, which only two people have ever done, and those two people are named Khabib and George St. Pierre. Everybody else went out flat on their back and embarrassed, including Ronda. She's back to try to fix it. But what if she doesn't? I mean, if she loses to Gina, she's going to lose by stoppage. Right? So now she's back to embarrassed. But if you picked a gal that's been out 17 years and you can't beat her, you're now confronted with the reality that there's nobody that I can beat. But that's a hard one to accept. So now you got two choices. You accept that. You accept. I have withered. I am not what I was. And you go try to live your life like that. Or you say, what difference does it make? Rack the deck and deal one more hand. And it's just a very interesting thing. I mean, Ronda's in massive talks with the UFC, and she's gone after Hunter specifically, and the UFC and Hunter specifically has never responded, and I don't think that they ever will, but you could imagine the fun they could have with a loss. I mean, she will lose the bully pulpit. She lost the bully pulpit for a number of years, but you can outrun things. And with artists, over time, their art becomes more valuable. And she was gone just enough time that she can come back to a headlining role like everything was perfect. I'm just asking you, what happens if she loses? Probably going to have to just go live life and just accept it. That's probably the one. But that won't be easy. And an attempt to come back and do one more, an attempt to find somebody, is likely to be made. And then what does that look like for Gina's side? Is Gina then going to ride off into the sunset, proud and with her head up, and join the Khabib and St. Pierre's of the world? Or is Gina going to let it roll one more time? Parlay that into another contract with Netflix. It's a very interesting thing, right? We're going through that with the UFC right now. Nobody ever asked themselves, going into Strickland Chimaev, what happens if Sean wins? And here we are. And quite frankly, it's a very different world. It's a very different landscape. And it's been great. It's been a lot of fun. But what happens if Gina wins?